I asked some of my established women entrepreneur friends to answer this question. What's one of the best investments you have ever made? And I think you'll be really fascinated by their responses. I'll share mine at the end. So tap the like button and let's dive in.
One of the best financial investments that I've ever made.
A $33,000 12-month mastermind. This was my first big investment, and it taught me all about operations. It helped me hire my first team member, and it really set my business on a trajectory to take it to the next level.
One of the best financial investments that I've ever made was in the last house that my husband and I bought. We purchased it about 14 years ago and were able to sell it last summer for more than double what we bought it for after taking a quarter acre off of the property. So we were able to sell it for quite a bit more than we had invested, and it was paid off when we actually sold it.
A $20,000 program with a young business coach in her late 20s, where I learned how to sell high-ticket programs without sales calls. And it was a total game changer to have the kind of good problem of having too many sales calls. And even though those converted really well, just to feel like my calendar was a trap, and to learn how to sell without selling.
Early on, hiring a mentor who was massively successful, and he helped shortcut years of trial and error of my learning curve in my business.
I would say real estate has definitely, I've been rewarded with that. It has also been one of the worst investments I have ever made. So it's actually a double-edged sword. So I actually lost everything in real estate because I over leveraged. And then when something bad happened, I lost my shirt. But I think when you invest in real estate the right way, then you can have a whole lot of success.
The best financial investment I ever made was the right strategic business coach. I hired her early on and she collapsed my timeline, gave me such clarity, and I made more money than I paid her within the first year of working with her.
It's my house. My house is a place I've lived here for 26 years, so it's provided shelter and parties and fun and family time.
I really lucked out on the first home I ever bought. I was 29. I bought it for $110,000. I sold it exactly 3 years later for exactly 3 times the amount. So it ended up being a really great financial investment.
During the pandemic at the beginning, when I realized that my business that was doing face and body art and makeup at events wasn't going to work, there was this girl I had done makeup for her and her friends at one of the New Year's gigs that I had, and she actually was a coach that taught entrepreneurs how to make money and generate income online and make their business an online business. And I had been eyeballing her for a long time because we had done her makeup, and she had a program where she taught you how to create a business online. And I was a little scared, especially with the timing of everything, to invest in her. It was $5,000. And it was my first time actually spending that much money on a coach for business. But it ended up being the best financial investment I ever made because it created a business that's still alive today. And it allowed me to pivot from being an in-person entrepreneur and artist to being an online coach that helped people unpack trauma and work through their limiting beliefs so that they could have a thriving life.
Best financial investment I ever made was purchasing my first house at the age of 23. It was right after I went on active duty with the Army. And I sold that house 3 years later for twice what I had paid for it.
Investing in an RESP, so that's a registered education savings plan here in Canada, for both of my girls when they were babies. I mean, we started an RESP for both my girls right from day one. And they're 17 and 19 now. One of them is in college. The other one's getting closer to that. They're both in a position where their schooling is going to be paid for.
As I consider investing in myself as an investment. And the reason why I say that is because I supported myself in transitioning from working for someone else as a result of a layoff into starting my own business. And that has sustained me over the last 30 years.
The pretty clear answer here is a round table that I joined. I felt like I could not afford it. It was early in the life of my business that I had founded, my first one.
Believing in myself and deciding to up level. And sometimes you have to pay to up level. And so for me, I think it was finding a business coach, finding a financial coach, finding people who could help bridge the gap of what I didn't know.
Like some of my friends shared, one of the best investments I've ever made is in myself. I mean, you are your greatest asset, right? So one of my very first business mentoring programs is still one of the best financial investments I've ever made. At the time, it was $9,000. And in today's dollars, it would be like $25,000. So it was significant at the time. And I had just invested a whole year of traveling back and forth between the San Francisco Bay Area, where I'm from, and Salt Lake City, Utah, about every 2 weeks for that whole year. So between the time, the travel, the investments, and the workshops, I did a series of personal development workshops there. And what I distilled from that was that I wanted to lead live events and transformational programs, but I didn't know how to do any of that. So I decided to just grow my wings on the way down after I jumped off the cliff, and I decided to lead a little financial workshop. So it was a 90-minute workshop. I invited everyone I knew, and 9 people signed up. I charged $10 for it. So 9 times $10, I made $90 at my first little workshop. And I was like, yes, I am living my dream. It was so awesome. But I didn't know where to go from there because I had already, invited everybody I knew. So when I went to this other workshop that was based for holistic practitioners and coaches, but I decided to go anyway, even though I was mainly in real estate at the time. And they shared that they supported people to speak from stage and lead lucrative life-changing programs. And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to do. So it was like they put a staircase in front of me. My vision was way up there. And now I could take one step and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And it was still a really big investment. So I did, have to think about it and feel into it. And at the end of the day, I decided to go for it. And within 1 year, launching a brand new business around my passion, I earned $220,000 that first year. So if you do the ROI on that, the return on investment, that was like a 2,344% ROI. I mean, where else are you going to get that, right? And since then, I've made millions and millions and millions of dollars directly from what I learned through that program, doing what I love, living my purpose and passion, and supporting other entrepreneurs all over the world with my message of prosperity and freedom. So, still one of the best investments I've ever made. If you find this helpful and interesting, please tap the like button for the YouTube algorithm and let us know in the comments, what's one of the best investments you've ever made? I'm excited to check it out.